It's going to really tick you guys off, as it did me. I don't know, most of you people know me. I'm Pam Parker. My husband owns this tavern. I'm co-founder of Opponents of Ohio Bans, and I'm a regional director for Buckeye Liquor Permit Holders Association. Several of our members are here today. Since June, we've been conducting an investigation into the Smokefree Ohio petitions. We've done public records requests asking for copies of the petitions. So we've carefully pored over those petitions, and what we've found is astonishing. First of all, there are petitions that never should have been validated, petitions signed by multiple people that should have invalidated the entire petition, signatures that should have been invalidated. A circulator can't sign its own petition, and yet those were validated. The blatant disregard for the law, the laws themselves, is astonishing. And I'm going to go over some numbers with you that's going to just blow you guys away. First of all, okay, Smokefree Ohio submitted signatures to put the Smoke-Free Workplace Act on the ballot. And they went to the legislature. In fact, I have a publication from Stanton Glantz, who's the Director of Tobacco Control for the University of San Francisco, California, San Francisco, who's received multiple funding from the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, who's paid for the smoking bans, who also owns stock in Johnson & Johnson, who sells the patches and the gum, but I guess that's irrelevant. Glantz writes about the fact that Susan Jagers went to the legislature and threatened them. They said, you don't want to do this. This is a political year. You don't want to deal with this in an election year. You're not going to make people happy. We won't make it easy for you. So basically, do you want to be on the side of R.J. Reynolds, Licensed Beverage Association, or do you want to be on the side of the American Cancer Society, the Heart Association, doctors, hospitals in an election year? Evidently, they didn't want to be on the side of small businesses. So the legislature acquiesced. The General Assembly said, okay, we'll do nothing, and we'll let it go to a vote. So Smokefree Ohio submitted petitions. And Jacob Evans, who is with the OLBA, who was also on the competing issue, Smokeless Ohio, filed a lawsuit and said anybody who listed the American Cancer Society as their paid employer, the first group of petitions, Arno Political Consultants came in and they paid people for those signatures, but they listed the American Cancer Society as the employer. Jacob Evans filed a lawsuit, and Judge Kane ruled that all petitions where they listed the American Cancer Society as their employer needed to be submitted, a complete list submitted to him so he can validate the signatures. Well, this is a copy of that. Anybody with the media who wants a copy of it's free to have it. There were 77 counties in Ohio who had people who listed the American Cancer Society as their employer. Judge Kane got a list of 28. So all the signatures did not get invalidated that should have been invalidated. So the court told Smokefree Ohio, hey, we need 23,270 additional signatures. Forgetting the fact that 49 counties didn't submit a list. You need 23,270 signatures. This is what was needed. Okay? They submitted 25,486 signatures. And I have that as a handout if anybody would like to have it. It was sent by the Secretary of State's office saying, we stopped at 25,486 signatures. There's 14 more counties we didn't count, but we deem you have enough. So they said they had 25,486. That's what they said they had. Okay, do you see this these math questions over here? Do these equate to anyone? Does 4334 equal 5415 and 1057? Or is this right? That's because their table that they sent to Smokefree Ohio telling them they had enough signatures was incorrect. This correct number of valid signatures was really 2,819. This number of valid signatures, this is total signatures equals valid plus invalid. Total signatures equals valid plus invalid. This number was 4,131. So we corrected that number here and said, okay, you need to take another 5,617 off because you screwed up in the math. So that's Cuyahoga and Hamilton. That means you really only submitted 19,869 signatures. And we're going to count those 14 counties that you didn't submit. We're going to go ahead and count them. In Lake County, they never did provide us, so we gave them credit for every single signature that was submitted. These are the 14 missing counties. Okay, now you've got 25,590 signatures, valid signatures. Okay, this 3,470, these are the petitions that didn't make it to Judge Kane. These are the number of signatures that should have been invalidated for the 49 counties that were not submitted for Kane's order. That means they only had 22,120 signatures. That's what they needed to put it on the ballot. That's what they were short. Now, let's take into consideration all the other election law violations that there were. These are the signatures that the felons collected. And let me tell you about the felons. There were 47 of them. Election laws prohibit felons. In fact, it's a felony if you're a felon and you collect signatures. That's how many signatures they collected. There were rapists, people convicted of kidnapping. There were people who were convicted of forgery, and they got your signature. Where'd they collect these signatures? At the zoo? How many children did these people, how many lives did they touch? That's illegal, and that's how many, had somebody been doing their job and actually checked. 47 felons? That's how many should have been, how many signatures should have been invalidated. Form 15, the Secretary of State requires that all circulators who either supervise and or pay people for signatures must file a Form 15 with the Secretary of State's office prior to either submitting the signatures or agreeing to, collecting the signatures or agreeing to do so. They filed it after the fact. By law, that's supposed to invalidate any signatures collected without filing the Form 15s on time. They were 33,807 signatures short. Now here's the thing. Day before yesterday, I called Jacob Evans and left him a message because I wanted to know if he knew that Judge Kane's court order had been ignored because he filed the lawsuit. He told me, Pam, the state of Ohio was aware they didn't have enough signatures. They knew they didn't have enough signatures. But they'd already certified it, and they put it to the voters anyway. So we're losing money for an issue that never should have gone to the voters. How's that make y'all feel?
Outrage. Broke. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I'm going to introduce Pat Carroll. I want him to talk about what we would like to have happen. First of all, from an election standpoint, I want no felons ever again. I want background checks on them. I want them to carry photo IDs with them that say, I had this background check, because I will never sign another petition again. If I don't know who that person is at my